Book number 9 of the Great American Read, which I have read, is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas Pare in 1844. Now, I can talk about this book all day. I read it for the first time a few years ago, and it has since become my choice for my favorite book of all time. Now, I completely get that it can be intimidating to a lot of people because it's old and it's long, over 1,000 pages, and it's French. But I swear to you, if you give it a chance, you will find it just as fun and engaging and page turning as any popular piece of fiction you can name today. And maybe it's just the translation I have is an especially good one. Of course, I'm not reading it in the original French, but it just grabbed me from the start and never let go. And at the same time as it is just as fun as I was saying before, it also goes deep into issues of morality and complicity and redemption, and it will make you think long and hard about all of that, no matter what you came into it thinking. Now, the author himself is a big part of this because you have to start with his father, who was the son of a Haitian slave and her owner, who then got his way to freedom and joined Napoleon Bonaparte's army and is still the highest ranking black soldier in any European army in history. And I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been a movie about this guy because his life is pretty incredible. But then he had a son who became a writer, and as what we know about his personality, he was a big party animal with 40 mistresses that we know of. And that absolutely comes through in his writing style because he just wants you to have a ball with this stuff just as much as he enjoyed life. And he succeeds at that. I've also read nonfiction work of his about the Borgia family and the Three Musketeers, his most famous work. And it's all just great stuff. And you definitely should check it out if you haven't. I am also share a birthday with him, July 24th, so that was neat to find out. Well, as for the book itself, it's all about revenge, which is a subject of a lot of stories throughout the ages because it's a topic anyone can have a visceral gut reaction to. On some level, we all want to see someone pay for putting an innocent person through something they don't deserve. And you can go a few ways with this kind of story. You can just have this mindless thing where we're on the person getting the revenge's side through the whole thing with no thought behind it. There's also the more intellectual approach where you end up just questioning if you do this to them, doesn't that make you just as bad as them? The problem with those is they can easily go too far and end up feeling like they're saying no one should ever be mad about anything and you should just accept all the bad stuff that happens to you, which is just bullshit every time it comes up, really. And The Count of Monte Cristo, what makes it still the greatest revenge story ever is it doesn't go to either of those extremes. It definitely shows its main character, Edmond Dantes, as someone who is doing undeniably bad things, which have a lot of collateral damage among innocent people with nothing to do with the guys that set him up and put him in prison. But we also never once feel like we're being asked to question if he deserves to get his revenge on these guys because they are all just these despicable people who we want to see get theirs from the moment they show up. And it is just great fun the whole way through seeing how he threads that needle and um, just uses this fortune that he's come into to find out what all their secrets are, ingratiate himself into their society, and very slowly set them all up for the downfall they deserve. And throughout it all, we just have to question for ourselves how much do we agree with anything that's going on because the book does not make it easy to make moral judgments on much of anything. And we're just left to ponder it ourselves at the end and think which of this, if any of it, was actually justified. And that is really the smartest way to do it still. And it's a tricky thing to pull off, but this one does it. One more thing you probably don't know about this book if you haven't read it, and how the book does not get any of the credit it deserves for this is beyond me. It may be the first piece ever of popular entertainment to feature a gay couple. Now, of course, Dumas couldn't actually make this clear at the time, but this is not just some grasping at straws from people desperate for representation, the way a lot of this kind of stuff is. There are legit French literature scholars who agree that he wanted us to think that these two women were in a relationship. And it is amazing to see a book in the 1800s with two women who love each other, and we get to see their relationship develop, and they're portrayed sympathetically throughout the whole thing, and they get the happy ending they deserve. And just makes you wonder how come more people have so much problem with this kind of stuff. But that's all I can really go into here without just making this run way too long. There is plenty more to say, but that would be getting into just not being able to stop myself. Just trust me on this one. This is a book you will not be able to put down. It is just as good as it was the day it was published, maybe even better now that we have so much else to compare it to positively in all cases. Now, the next up is another murder mystery, but this one is not really about the mystery itself at all, but just using it to look into a very unusual mind with the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime.